As I do, I was just catching up with some of the shows that I haven't watched throughout the year. And when I got to Tomodachi game, I was amazed how no one's talking about this crazy show. The story follows a student named Yuichi, and we get introduced to him and his friends as he's trying to earn money to go on a school trip. As his parents passed away, he's trying to earn the money himself. After he earns the money and everybody in the class gives the money to the class representative, someone steals the money. As the main character is the poorest, everybody thinks he stole the money. At night, the MC gets a letter telling him to meet in front of the school. When he arrives, he finds that all of his friends are there, and they got a letter from him saying the exact same thing. As he's confused and thinks about what's happening, he gets hit with a taser, knocking him out. As he wakes up, a character presents himself, telling them the rules of the game. The most important parts are that the money that was taken was used to get into the game, and that they are now 20 million yen in debt. This is due to somebody having the debt and now it being placed upon all of them. In short, there's the trader within the group, and the game's rules change depending on the game, so they can earn money and they can go deeper in debt. This all happens within the first 7 minutes of the show. Lastly, before I say more, I need to prefix that there are some cruel and crazy things that happen in this show, sometimes. For example, one character is left in the cave by himself with no food or drink for 4 days. Throughout the days, we see him struggling and thinking that his friends might have left him to die, or they are trying to torture him. If you're someone that can't handle that kind of stuff, I would not recommend the show, as there's a lot of other stuff that is very much psychologically damaging to the characters. And if you are not interested in those kind of things, then definitely skip Tomodachi game. With the solid setup for the story, I found myself most hyped when the main character flips the games on their head. This show is very psychological, and all the characters have more to them than they seem at first, especially the main character. If I had to compare shows to it, I'd say Classroom of the Elite has some of these aspects, but Tomodachi game does it better. And the other show that I'd compare it with is No Game No Life. If you like either of these shows, you'll like Tomodachi game a lot. It's hard to get into more details without spoiling the show to you in some way, so I'll just give you my ratings for the show. The story is a 9 out of 10. I like the story a lot, and honestly I wasn't expecting for it to be this interesting when I first started watching. However, within just 5 minutes I was super invested. There's not many shows that do that to me nowadays, and it was a pleasant surprise. The only reason it's not a 10 is due to the cliffhanger at the end of the season. The characters get a 10 out of 10 as they have a lot to them, and you'll keep learning more about them throughout the show. As there is no fill-in characters that don't have a personality, the show is a lot more enjoyable. As the show focuses on controlling or breaking people, you're given a lot of information about them and the way they think, making the characters more real. The action is an 8 out of 10, as there isn't a lot of action in the fighting sense. There is a lot of action created through tension within the games, and it's amazing. I love fighting shows, but with Tomodachi, all the action is based within the tactics used. This is why I compared it with No Game No Life. As for the sound, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. All the sound effects are not anything crazy, and the music is well used in different situations. It all works out well. However, I think the music could have been better, and some of the sound effects could have had a lot more impact. This is just my opinion, and I have a specific way that I like my sound effects and music. As for the opening song, I found it to be boring. However, the visuals for the opening are very good. The animation is a 9 out of 10. This could be higher, but it's nothing crazy. It's very much reminiscent of the show Classroom of the Elite, as the animation is just as good as it needs to be for a show that doesn't have fighting or crazy powers. But there's also a part of the animation I love. When the main character smirks, the animation is great, and some of the effects placed on the characters are amazing, adding a great touch. Overall, the show gets a 44 out of 50. being the highest score we have yet. The only other show that I would say is comparable that I've reviewed is Overlord. It's unfortunate that I reviewed Overlord so early in our channel, because I can't fully compare. Honestly, Overlord still would have a higher rating than this show, but because I did it early on, I gave it an under rating of what it actually should be. Thank you for watching. I don't know how this show is not more popular or more talked about. It's very good psychologically, and if you like shows that have very manipulative or very capable main characters, then this is the show for you. There's also a lot of violence, not like crazy violence, it's not super gory or anything like that, but mentally being abused and such, there is quite a bit of. Thank you for watching, and you know, hit the like button. Fucking do it, please. Yeah.